Hello everyone, Kent Ketter back here with another Hot Takes. I'm excited. Got a little sleep after our trip back from the Invitational. The weekend didn't go great for me. The team as a whole did medium minus at best, but got a nice one here for you today. So, we're bringing you the Invitational winning deck list, Elves. Now, I know when Collected Company and some of the other cards were spoiled in Dragon/Cons, this was a deck that got a lot of hype. A lot of people were like, "Oh, you know, we can finally make Elves work. Company's gonna let you find two, etc., etc." Didn't really pan out. It's not to say the deck was necessarily bad, but it wasn't as powerful as some of the other choices in Modern, so it kind of fell off the radar. Well, came back in full force, taking down an invite to the Pro Tour, an invite to the Players Championship, and frankly, probably baffling a lot of the Modern experts, who like to say they have a grasp on the format as a whole, because this one definitely came out of left field. So let's take a quick look at the deck's core and then take it through some matches and see what we think. So first off, I'd just like to point out this is a Collected Company Core to Calling deck. So we're going to have a lot of 3 mana or less creatures, a couple bullets to look at. The sideboard's a lot of bullets, and from my understanding, we're just trying to get as far ahead as we can on board and then close the game out with Azuri. So, Mana Engine, Elvish Mystic, and Llanowar Elves, both 1 mana birds. You have Nettle Sentinel, which is just fantastic with the other pseudo bird in the deck, Heritage Druid. So you'll notice on Nettle Sentinel it untaps when you cast a green spell. Everything in here is green except for Spellskite. Other elves that are just, good rate. This is 3 power of elf creatures in a separate token, which comes into play for the Heritage Druid. Visionary getting the cantrip as usual. And then we have the Elf Lord Elvish Archdruid, which also acts kind of like a... Oh, what is the land from Legacy that I'm currently blanking on? It's not Pendlehaven. Oh, the land that taps for 1 mana of each creature, or for each creature you control. Cradle. Yeah, it's a cradle on a stick. And then the actual win condition and resiliency provider, Azuri here. So 5 mana, giving your elves overrun is not too unreasonable, especially if you tutor them up like end of turn, untap, and drop a bunch of damage. The main deck bullets that we have are Reclamation Sage and Spellskite. I would imagine Sage is for... I guess it'd be for cranial plating. I can't really think of many other Game 1 decks where you're really needing the artifact or enchantment hate, but it's a good effect. Might as well hold on to it. I guess like a Ghostly Prison if it was in Game 1s. And then Spellskite, just give you a little resiliency, help protect the team. And Scavenging Ooze, a lot of elves that are probably going to get blown up, so you can make a massive ooze and attack them. It also shuts off a few of the combo decks, so good main deck inclusion. Outside of that, in the sideboard, we got a couple spicy ones with Nykthos, personal favorite of mine, the Pendlehaven, pumping your creatures, and then Caverner Souls. This deck really doesn't care about counter spells. Cavern just kind of cements that into play. So let's slide this sideboard over for your perusal. Couple spot removal spells in Path to Exile, a little anti-burn in Kitchen Finks, some Fracturing Gust for affinity, and Boggles as well. And then a whole stack of bullets here. So, real quick, aggressive matchups, burn, infect. Jund decks, anything black-based removal seems very powerful there. Tron, some of the creature-based combo decks as well, not too bad. Combo. Different decks with, kind of non-resilient mana, or you're just wanting to... I would say this is also a good Tron card. Affinity and Red Sweepers. So Burton Forge Center is definitely an interesting one, as over the, probably the Selfless Spirit, but I think it does a lot of good. So... interchangeable. Pretty simple deck list, to be honest with you. Liam did supplement this with some Bant Company and Standard. Regardless of the individual records, I think this is a deck that's going to be a fun one to take for a spin. Oh, I'm sorry. I did miss one bullet in the main deck. Eternal Witness. Cord for Witness, buyback Cord seems pretty decent. Or if you collected Company hitting Witness, you're in great shape. So let's take this through a queue, kind of see where we're at. I think we'll find that maybe the deck's 3-0 tear through the top 8 is not really indicative of, you know, the deck in a full sense, but I think we're going to find that this deck is much more powerful than people realize, especially if folks are skimping on the removal. You know, even the Jund decks are starting to get a little more mid-rangey instead of, you know, stacking up on all your Terminates and Abrupt Decays and Lightning Bolts. They've got stuff like Pulse, which just seem a little slow for this. So I'm pretty interested to see how this is going to work out. This is definitely a hot take of the weekend. I would not be surprised to find if it, you know, does decent in some games where it's not being interacted with, but in other games where the opponent is either executing their game plan quickly, like Infect, or just has a good amount of creature removal while attacking, be it a Delver strategy or a Jund strategy. I would imagine Elves could have a tough time, but Missouri is really powerful. The deck is very explosive. I'm going to love to see some Heritage Druids draws, maybe with an Arc Druid as well to just kick things off. So let's jump into the queues and see what happens. Join me for match 1 in just a few.